Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Staten Island service for Sunday, March 21st, 2001. At today's service, we'll get to know our speaker, Troy McGhie, and hear him talk about building a community of compassion. I'm going to start this morning with opening words from John Lewis. It's been less than a year since his death, and it's this month, the 56th anniversary of his march, along with many, many others, on Bloody Sunday across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. So I'm reading from a work of John Lewis's called Across That Bridge, A Vision for Change and the Future of America. You are light. You are the light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light. Study the path of others to make your way easier and more abundant. Lean toward the whispers of your own heart. Discover the universal truth and follow its dictates. Release the need to hate. To harbor division and the enticement of revenge. Release all bitterness. Hold only love, only peace in your heart, knowing that the battle of good and to overcome evil is already won. Choose confrontation wisely, but when it is your time, don't be afraid to stand up, and speak out against injustice. And if you follow your truth down the road to peace and the affirmation of love, if you shine like a beacon for all to see, then the poetry of all the great dreamers and philosophers is yours to manifest in a nation, a world community, and a beloved community that is finally at peace with itself. I'm going to light the chalice and say our affirmation. In the search for truth and the spirit of love, we unite for worship and fellowship. I'm lighting a second candle today in our traditional Black Lives Matter chalice lighting in memory of George Floyd, and as part of the ongoing world vigil about the shootings in Atlanta over the past couple of days. Please keep all those things in your heart as we go forward with the service. We'll now have the opening hymn, We Are Building a New Way by Martha Sandifer, sung by Kevin Clark.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free, hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without this, the world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry.
It's now time for joys and sorrows. Please feel free to unmute yourself and to raise your hand. I think Sally maybe will call on you or otherwise acknowledge that it's your turn to speak. You could also put your comments in the chat.
Absolutely. Just unmute yourself if you'd like to speak.
Looks like,
Yes, I'd like to say a word. Very dear friend, Alex Guzman, passed away this week. He was our friend for over 40 years. He was a conductor. He conducted our orchestra, the Staten Island Philharmonic, for its whole existence. And before that, we had worked with him in Regina Opera and the Bronx Opera and the Bronx Symphony. And I cannot count the numbers of times 40 years ago when he would pick up Carol in Brooklyn and drive her up to the Bronx and never accept a penny. And he was very unusual for a conductor. A conductor is a prima donna position. But Alex was always at the rehearsal first, setting up the chairs, handing out the music, doing everything that needed to be done to run an orchestra effectively. His main career was working as a court officer, and he assigned all the court officers to the city courts. And he would get them all assigned in the morning. Then he would have time off. He would go back to his office and he would study musical scores. He always knew the music backwards and forwards and was there to give you a cue when it was your turn to enter. He literally would give you the shirt off his back. My parents drove up from Houston one time pulling a travel trailer, and he allowed them to park it in his garage in Brooklyn, so it wouldn't be parked out on the street. That was the type of man that he was. He will be greatly, greatly missed. Thank you.
Sarah, Virginia has her hand up.
Good morning, everyone. I am really pleased to join the service this morning. And I'm down in Florida, enjoying my family. I'm with my cousins for a month. So I'll see you next month. But it's my pleasure to be here and to see all of you.
Anyone else want to unmute? George, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I would share a great joy in my life, which is just the place, the location where I live. You know, I've been here on and off since I lived here with my parents, and then off away from most of my life where I came back, 25 years ago, maybe. And, the more I live here, the more I fall in love with it. The more I feel I go deeper and deeper into my relationship with, all of the waterfowl and birds that live here, and the things that grow, and the ocean that comes and goes twice every day. There's the beach, there's the mud flats, there's the lawn, the bank. I mean, I don't know. And I suppose maybe hopefully we all have a place where we connect with nature, that was very essential to the theology of Emerson and Thoreau, finding the transcendent in nature. But I feel I find the transcendent in nature, and it takes me beyond myself on a continuing basis. The sorrow that I would share is that a friend of mine, Matt Schaefer, who many of you know, I'm sure, he's a pastor of the Bethel Church, but it's been a friend of mine, for several years. And I don't go to the church, but I've been doing a sort of a weekly Bible study on Zoom for the past, few months. But anyway, I feel a great sense of loss in the sense because he's going to be moving to another church in Brooklyn, and pastors are very territorial, and I just feel a real sense of loss. I just it's, I guess, the risk you take when you get connected with somebody is you're liable to lose them, and in a certain sense. And I mean, I don't know, I may wind up continuing possibly, my friendship with him, but many friendships are keyed to the location, to the business or the church or the situation, and don't easily survive that loss of commonplace. So anyway, I'm feeling that and have been feeling that for a while, and just, share that sense of loss and grieving in my life for a person that means a lot to me.
Sarah, Diane has her hand up.
Hi, can you hear me? I think I'm on. I just wanted to say that I am so happy. I'm going to go visit my 90-year-old mother for her birthday, and my 96-year-old father, who she's been caretaking through long before COVID. He has very little memory, and he is finally now transitioning to a hospice care at home with her. And so it's been like this is the spring of preparing for that passage, and also for making sure she is supported. And I'm so glad I can be there in person with a brother and a sister and bring them into the story as well, because they've been, they're very matter of fact, they're very type A, they're doing their business and their work and their families. And I've been more available to this and more connected to what happens when someone is going to go to, I encourage people to go to hospice early. That's my big thing. It's like, that's such a relief that she can get help with this, not just from us, but also from, a hospice caregivers, and start to think about what happens next. And she's 90, but she needs to go golfing and things like that. So that's good. So
well,
that's it.
She goes skinny dipping in cold ass water.
You heard that? Did you hear that, Diane?
Yeah. It's today at 3. Today at 3.
Does anyone else have their want to say something? And if you want to make sure you share whatever joy or show. So there's Mike. Mike, go ahead.
Go ahead, Martin.
You can go ahead. You can call on.
I just wanted to say that we were very happy to picked up our daughter at the airport last night. She had spent a month in Mexico City with her brother and had a very good time, it seems. And we were very happy to be able to see her.
Ditto.
You had the same joy. Okay.
Yes, we did.
Even though they're the different color backgrounds, I think they're the same address. Anyone else want to share their joy or sorrow? If you'd rather not say it out loud, just please put it in the chat to share. Oh, Mary. You need to unmute, Mary.
My joy is that my daughter turns 21 today.
Whoa,
So that's a big milestone.
that is. Do we cover everybody who wanted to speak? I'm looking carefully. Okay, Sarah. I guess you can go ahead. I'm gonna spotlight you. Whoops, I think I got you. Where are you? You know, Sarah might have, oh, there
There I am.
you are.
I'm here. Thank you for everyone for sharing. The reading for today is also from John Lewis, from Across That Bridge, A Vision for Change and the Future of America. Take a long, hard look down the road you will have to travel once you have made a commitment to work for change. Know that this transformation will not happen right away. Change often takes time. It rarely happens all at once. In the movement, we didn't know how history would play itself out. When we were getting arrested and waiting in jail or standing in unmovable lines on the courthouse steps, we didn't know what would happen, but we knew it had to happen. Use the words of the movement to pace yourself. We used to say that ours is not the struggle of one day, 1 week, or 1 year. Ours is not the struggle of one judicial appointment or presidential term. Ours is the struggle of a lifetime, or maybe even many lifetimes. And each one of us in every generation must do our part. And if we believe in the change we seek, then it is easy to commit to doing all we can, because the responsibilities is ours alone to build a better society and a more peaceful world. We know that you treasure this community by your presence, and we want to thank you for your presence and your participation. Sally will post how you can contribute more to the work of this church. And I will introduce now my daughter, who has recorded a video, a very up close and personal video, an a cappella version of If You're Out There by John Legend.
There's no sound.
I think we're going to try again, Sally.
I was muted.
Oh, it's good reason.
Why is it? I am so sorry. Let me just try it one more time.
It would really be odd if we were watching an a cappella
Yeah,
video.
just hold on one second. Just give me a moment. You know what I think?
calling every woman, calling every man. For the generation that can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late. We've been looking for a song to sing, a search for a melody, a search for someone to lead. We've been looking for the world to change. If you feel the same, then go on and say, if you're out there, sing along with me if you're out there. I'm yearning to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud if you're out there. Tomorrow starting now. No more broken promises, no more call to war, unless it's love and peace that we're really fighting for. And we can destroy hunger, we can conquer hate. Put down your arms and raise your voice and join in hands today. Oh, I've been looking for a song to sing, a search for a leader, but the leader was me. We've been looking for the world to change. We can be heroes, just go on and say if you're out there. Sing along with me if you're out there. I'm yearning to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud if you're out there. Tomorrow's starting now. Oh, now. If you're ready, we can change the world. Believe again, start to mend. We don't have to wait for destiny. We should be the change that we want to see if you're out there. Oh, oh, if you're out there and you're ready now, say it loud. Scream it out if you're out there. Sing along with me if you're out there. I'm yearning to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud if you're out there. Tomorrow's starting now. If you're out there, if you're out there, if you're out there, if you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, I'm calling every man. We're the generation we can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late.
It's now time to welcome our speaker. I'm going to read a very short biography for Troy McGhie. Get it ready. Troy McGhie is a high school educator for the New York City Department of Education, who's been working with students on Staten Island for 21 years. Troy earned his Master's of Special Education from the College of Staten Island and his Bachelor of Liberal Arts with a minor in Political Science from Stony Brook University. Mr. McGhie serves as coordinator for Curtis High School's My Brother's Keeper program, which seeks to ensure young men of color reach their full potential, feel valued, and have a clear pathway to opportunity. He also participated in the development of the Equity for All initiative, which supports the Equity Alliance of Staten Island. Mr. McGhie has coached and mentored high school basketball players for the past 25 years, most recently bringing his team to a Staten Island High School League and a New York City Public School Athletic League City Championship. For the past 8 years, Mr. McGhie has also worked with Councilmember Debi Rose as a community liaison. Mr. McGhie attends community and civic meetings as part of that role, representing the council member while assisting with resolving community issues and informing stakeholders about the council members' initiatives. Born and raised on Staten Island, Mr. McGhie has spent most of his adult life working in and for the Staten Island community in which he lives with his wife and 2 sons. Please welcome Troy McGhie.
Thank you, Sarah, for that wonderful introduction, and hello to the congregation of the Unitarian Church, Staten Island. Like Sarah said, I am Troy McGhie, and it's great to be with you today, and I look forward to sharing a little bit about our journey of building a community of compassion. So let me start with a little bit more about myself. As Sarah said, I'm a lifelong Staten Islander. I'm a career educator and a mentor and a coach. And throughout my career, I've built compassionate classrooms as well as strong communities in athletics. And in every one of those, we focused on being able to listen to people and meet them where they were. So I want to start off with telling you a story. It's a story about a little African-American boy, 7 or 8 years old at the time, and he moved to a new apartment on the North Shore of Staten Island with his mother. Since he was from a single-parent household, his mother asked an older Irish woman if she could pick him up when he returned home from school and just look after him until she returned home from work. Now, this woman could have very easily just took him into her home and put him in front of a TV back in the 70s. All remember in 1970s how things were, but she didn't do that. But what this woman did was she took this shy young boy out who really didn't have any friends in this new neighborhood and in this new community, and she introduced him to the kids that were in the neighborhood. She made sure that he was welcomed into that community and that he would be able to fit in. Now, why is that important? It's important because after a short period of time, that little boy started to thrive in that new community. To make a long story short, that young boy was me. And what that woman did for me when I was shy and had no friends and didn't know if I liked that new apartment or that new community that I was introduced to, was she showed compassion. She didn't do it for the money. She didn't do it to get anything in return from me or my mother. She did it out of compassion. So, what is compassion? The definition of compassion is the feeling that one gets when they become aware that another person is suffering. Compassion is when we feel empathy for a person and we take action to stop that person suffering. On a daily basis, we have an opportunity as a community to show compassion. We see homelessness. We see hate crimes. We see children and families living below the poverty line. Every day, everywhere, we hear of people suffering. To build a community of compassion centers around bringing empathy to the greater community. One of the most important pieces of building a community of compassion is the ability to truly listen to each other and listen with empathy and compassion. We're living in a society today that has a real need for compassion. We see either from social media, the internet, TV, the newspaper, or even real life scenarios, the suffering that people experience. And they experience this suffering through man-made tragedies, through natural disasters, through disease like this COVID-19 pandemic that we're all going through, and acts of political terror. But just like John Lewis said in today's opening words, we have to release the need to hate, to harbor divisions, the enticements of revenge, and hold only love, only peace in our heart. When it's your time to stand up, don't be afraid to stand up, to speak up, and to speak out against injustice. And with that being said, my friends, there are 6 ways that I want to introduce you to that you could promote a community of compassion in your everyday life. The first way is to encourage compassion in your community. Encourage a culture of empathy in the communities that you're a part of. Foster a place of comfort and compassion in your circles. Second, speak up for inclusion and equity. Everyone has something to contribute. Everyone needs the help of others. But do this in a way where you stay humble. Respect those around you and where they come from. You don't need to understand everything about everyone to make them feel valued or respected. Learning to speak up takes practice. No one's going to be able to feel comfortable doing it just off the cuff. So you need to practice and put yourself in positions so that when these opportunities present themselves, you feel comfortable speaking up against injustices. Third, live generously on a daily basis. Give of yourself, give of your knowledge, give of your experiences, and give of your wisdoms. We need to make habits of compassion and kindness. And we need to make those essential in our daily lives, just like every other habit that we have. Show up for your community. Be there to support your community at every turn. Discover the meaning of meaningful volunteering opportunities. In your local communities, get involved. Make sure that you're there when things are going on. Number 5, share your story. Often people are reluctant to discuss their volunteer opportunities and the things that they do. People feel like it's bragging. I believe that the more that we share our everyday efforts to make a difference in our community, it's not bragging, it's simply sharing and giving personal stories. And the more we normalize giving and being compassionate, we inspire generosity in others. And 6th, and probably most important, read widely. Do this because losing yourself in a good book allows you to immerse yourself in a new perspective. Books invite us to truly walk in someone else's shoes. Make a commitment to read outside your genre and outside of your culture from time to time. because we cannot show compassion, we cannot show empathy if we're not able to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. I want to tell you a story or bring up a story that we all know and shared at some point in our lives. And it's the story of Ebenezer Scrooge. It's the old man who, in the beginning of the story, was selfish and thought of himself and no one else. And he's visited by three ghosts: the ghost of the future, the ghost of the past, the ghost of the present, and the ghost of the future. And through these experiences with these three spirits, he develops compassion and empathy. And I bring this up because Charles Dickens used the issue of charity and compassion, and it was important to him. It was his belief that charity and compassion were linked closely to religion. Dickens was a Unitarian also. And he often was interested in putting morality and ethics in his works. Dickens believed that it was important to show the transformation of Ebenezer Scrooge, who becomes kind and charitable and honest and giving at the end of his novel. One of the major themes in the story was how one person's change could have a large impact on the community around them. And in the climate that we're in today, where people are full of anger, in the climate where we're in today, that people are filled with divisiveness, and in the climate that we're in today, where people are bent on revenge, let this be our time to show love, to show the peace that's in your heart, and to show that the battle with evil has already been won. Let this be our time to let the beacon of light grow into a community of compassion. Let this be our time where a beacon shines for everyone to see. And let this be our time to shed our beacon of light on everyone with love, compassion, and empathy, so that we can build a community of compassion. I want to thank you for this time of speaking with you. And I hope we could all go out and in our little circles and our little communities, just be that beacon to bring people in and show them compassion and empathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Our closing hymn today is Lean on Me by Bill Withers. It'll be sung by Carolyn Clark. Sorry, Kevin Clark.
Played by Carolyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and you'll be a friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I had things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
The bridge.
Call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long that I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. It won't be long that I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
It's now time to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing words today are by Reverend Elizabeth Nguyen, a Unitarian minister, and it's called Moving Mountains One Stone at a Time. We move mountains one stone at a time. As Unitarian Universalists, our journey is to transform the big and the small, to transform ourselves and to transform the world. Universalism means no one is outside the circle of love and no one is disposable. We stubbornly seek out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. Interdependence means none of us is truly free until we are all free. And our thriving earth is bound up in the earth's thriving. We struggle for liberation from the violence of white supremacy, sexism, ableism, classism, and heterosexism. Our covenants mean we make promises to our communities to honor, love, and justice above all else. Please join us in our after service discussion. We'll have Troy McGhie on hand and everyone else.